There's something weird going on in the synthesis ending that isn't in the control and destroy endings. You can see a doubled version of Joker while the synthesis crucible energy chases the Normandy. At first, I thought my game was glitching because of a bug, but playthroughs other than mine feature this strange glitchiness too. So I decided to put my 3 brain cells on the case to figure out why synthesis features a glitching version of Joker. Here's the strange part that shows Joker glitching. Joker's hat and nose show a doubled version of him, but when we see him in the scene before this, he looks completely normal. The strange glitch effect can also be seen in the synthesis energy as it approaches the Normandy. And what makes this even weirder? The destroy and control endings don't have this glitch effect on either the energy wave or on Joker. And it's not just Joker that has a doubled version of himself in the synthesis ending, but the console beside him also features this strange red-green-blue or RGB glitchiness. The tendrils of the Normandy's engine show the RGB distortion too, but once again only in the synthesis ending and not the others. Hila Salai, what in the heck is going on here? This RGB distortion is a really strange thing to include in only the synthesis ending, because the ending's cutscenes are infamously known for being identical to one another, except for which color you wanted to paint the Milky Way with. However, this is a glaring difference compared to the control and destroy endings, which means it was very intentional by the Mass Effect team to include these strange RGB distortions. And the absolutely crazy part about this discrepancy is it wasn't present in the original Mass Effect 3 endings. It was an addition to the Legendary Edition's version of them. Here are the original endings side by side, followed by the Legendary Edition. This basically means that whatever they meant to imply with the strange glitches is most likely specific to whatever they have planned in the next Mass Effect. Which brings me to the other strange glitching effects in the N7-day teases so far. In the teaser trailer from 2020, a voice says anomaly readings all across space, while showing what I believe to be the local cluster.
Anomaly readings all across space. Anomaly readings all across space.
On this cluster, you can see the same strange glitching effect near the bottom edge. And I don't know if it's just my eyes giving out, but it seems like you can also see a glitch effect on the right side of the Milky Way when the trailer first begins. Although this one could just be camera motion coupled with motion blur. Who knows? In the relay intercept from 2022, we can see a strange distortion appear over the surveillance footage. This one isn't the glitch effect specifically, but it's also an intentional strange blip added by the Mass Effect team. And the last glitchiness I've seen in the teasers is from the new N7 reveal last year. Specifically, the individual videos for the Epsilon and Oculon hints. The Epsilon video shows the red-blue glitch effect again, and in the Oculon video, you can see more RGB bars. It's also very interesting to note that the red-blue glitch could be viewed as a small nod toward the Paragon and Renegade system from the trilogy. So why did the Mass Effect team intentionally include this glitch effect and RGB bars in multiple teasers, and change the synthesis ending to be glitchy as well? Let's start with the synthesis ending's RGB distortions. If it was just Joker showing a doubled version of himself, I'd have said that it was simply an effect of whatever strange DNA change he was undergoing as a result of the Crucible's blast. However, it's also present on the console and the Normandy's engine tendrils, which definitely don't have DNA. So whatever this strange glitching is, it affects things that aren't just organic. coupled with the other N7-day teases also showcasing varying forms of the glitch effect, to me, it's a pretty clear attempt by the Mass Effect team to convey something to us. What exactly they're trying to tell us, though, is up to interpretation. This is a pure guess on my part, but I think the intentional use of the RGB glitches are the current Mass Effect team's attempt to put a new spin on the infamous red, green, and blue endings of Mass Effect 3. The endings are one of the most notorious story elements in any AAA game I've seen, and caused utter mayhem the first time Mass Effect 3 released in 2012. I think the current Mass Effect team, by changing the synthesis ending to include clear RGB distortions, is their attempt to try and use science, and specifically quantum mechanics, to justify the Mass Effect endings being the way they were. When I googled quantum mechanics and RGB, I found a theory on quantum thermodynamics called color charge. Color charge is a property of quarks and gluons that relates to the particles' strong interactions. And quarks are the elementary particles that constitute matter. Now, I've said this before, but I am not a physicist. However, I do play one on YouTube, so I'll try my best to explain the strange quantum realm if you struggle to understand it like me. When continuing my search into quarks and color charge, I stumbled across this visual representation of a quark. The description says that the individual use of red, blue, and green is arbitrary. However, all three colors must be present. There are even anti-quarks, where the colors to represent those particles are anti-red, anti-green, and anti-blue. It went on to describe a lot of quantum mechanics concepts that made my head spin, but the one recurring theme across the descriptions of quarks was the red, green, blue color scheme. And it even went into field lines that act between color charges, including this interesting depiction here, which features field lines of red and anti-red that look similar to the blue-red glitching seen in the Epsilon video. Now again, I'm not a physicist, so I don't actually know what all this stuff about quarks and color charge means. I just find it way too much of a coincidence that a theory about quantum mechanics can kind of connect to the RGB distortions that were added to the synthesis ending and also match the recent teases as well. So my very not to be taken too seriously interpretation is this. Because this strange glitchiness is present in one of the Mass Effect 3 endings, I think that the cause of the glitchiness might relate to the Crucible. We don't know much, if anything, about what the Crucible actually does. In Mass Effect 3, it's described as a Prothean superweapon that was slowly developed by multiple generations of races before eventually being completed in Shepard's generation. So I believe that whatever the Crucible did to wipe out the Reapers in the three main endings most likely caused other wacky astronomical things to happen as well, like causing anomalies all across space. In this way, the Crucible is probably a double-edged sword. It was used to defeat the Reapers, but in doing so, unleashed who knows what because of its mysterious energy blast. And as mentioned before, I think the new distortion addition to the synthesis ending is probably going to tie into an eventual rejustification of the Crucible choices being the way they were, which will probably be explained in the next Mass Effect. The main thing I'm going to take out of the strange RGB distortions in synthesis and the teases is that quantum mechanics might play a huge part in the next Mass Effect. I'll probably go into quarks and color charge in a later video once I've researched it some more. Something to keep in mind is how Mass Effect Andromeda was very scientific heavy, with descriptions in the codex and whenever we used the scanner. So being more scientific by including new fields like quantum mechanics is a trend that the Mass Effect team appears to have been cooking for a while now. And this scientific trend has apparently continued with evidence of more quantum mechanics wackiness in the teaser trailer from 2020. Like I mentioned before, a voice in the trailer remarked on anomalies all across space, probably following the Reaper War. But it's this mysterious planet in particular that might hammer home the importance of quantum mechanics in the next game. And I go into that planet's significance in a trailer breakdown filled with mind-blowing hints in this video right over here. See you there.